Hello there and welcome
to the new channel.
Here to help you see
the new you.
My name is Carmine Ortega.
Dennis Calamba.
This is Nato Agbayani.
My name is Juan Lu.
I'm Chino.
I'm Trisha.
This is Apple Manansada.
This is Attorney Carlo Ibanez.
This is Attorney Sheila Santiago.
This is Angie.
This is Argamid.
My name is Dante Salama.
This is Jesse Francis Rebastillo.
I'm Dania Cunha.
Mon Mendoza.
I am Muppet Rahina.
I'm Leo Bryan. Mike.
Nice of beer.
Sir Al Ian Barcelona.
Marvin Salazar. This is Sunny Haldons.
Heidi Lumainos.
This is Ivan Jude.
Patrick Geronimo.
Alan Perez.
My name is Erwin Ursua.
My name is Bob.
My name is Lloyd Luna and this is
Future.
The Talk.
Family Business.
The Puppet Stories.
After Shift.
PNC Town Hall.
YOLO.
Marketplace.
The Home Buyer.
HR Hotline.
Danny Art Show.
Healthline.
Foreign Affairs.
COVID Stories.
Awesome Day Show.
Thank you.
Money and more.
Cybernext.
Women at Work.
Win Within.
Port Project.
The Big Picture.
Sometimes life lets you down and you feel that you are done. You just want a morning run because the fun is all gone. But sometimes life makes you proud when you look far and wide, when you leave the pain behind and see the brighter side. TNC gives you inspiration. TNC reignites your passion. TNC starts your transformation. TNC helps you see the new you. Sometimes life makes you blind and you choose something bad. You just wanna cry and hide and save your face from the crowd. But sometimes life makes you see the beauty in you and me. When you look up above, there is God and there is love. TNC gives you inspiration. TNC reignites your passion. TNC starts your transformation. TNC helps you see the new. We're here to help you see the newness of life. We're here to help you feel the hope is so real. You got the power to see. We'll help you see the new you. TNC gives you inspiration. TNC reignites your passion. TNC starts your transformation. TNC helps you see the new you.
The new channel. The new channel.
The views, opinions, and insights expressed in the following show are those of the hosts, producers, guests, and viewers. They do not necessarily reflect the position of the channel. Viewer discretion is advised.
You are watching the new channel where we help you to see the new you. My name is Leo Bryan and this is Foreign Affairs. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Foreign Affairs. I'm Lee O'Brien, your host. And we're well into March now, and yet we are still feeling those after effects and continued effects from the pandemic, the lockdowns. Here in Manila, we just had the 1-year anniversary yesterday of when all the lockdowns started and all the restrictions began. Basically, when the world hit the e-brake and had to readjust just about everything that we did in normal daily life. And one of those industries, interesting to talk about was the personal training, gyms, working out, sports athletic training, etc. industry was brought to a standstill. No one could go out at first, and then eventually no one knew what was safe, what was kosher, what could be done and what could not be done. And at the same time, and still even today, we're sitting here wondering what exactly is correct, how many people can be in the gym, how many people can do this, how many people can do that, where can you go, where can't you go? And so it's just an ongoing struggle. However, as many of us saw with just about every industry, people started pivoting, people started adjusting. And in the personal training realm and industry was no different. And that's why I'm excited to have our guest on today. He's a gentleman from the UK who spent numerous years, decades, traveling in different parts of the world and practicing his craft, but also teaching his craft to others, which was all various forms of different kinds of combat sports and martial arts. But he doesn't just, talk the talk to his clients. He also has walked the walk. He has been a world champion in both boxing and I believe kickboxing, and currently is certified for international certification for personal trainers, and is Boxercise Asia's master trainer. It's basically people that train for the bags on both boxers and kickboxers. And now he resides in the Philippines with his girlfriend Judith, and they've been here. He's been here about 3 years now, and he's currently working out and training other clients here in the Manila area. And he too had to experience firsthand. He was previously at one of the UFC gyms here in the city, and then had to make severe adjustments. But as we'll see today, seems like he's basically come out on the other end doing really well, and just continued where he left off for the last few decades. So please help me welcome to the show, Mr. Adam Kechil. Adam, come on out.
Hey, thank you. What an introduction. Thank you very much, Lee. Thank you.
Yeah, man. Well, first off, I gotta say, man, you're looking much more like a show host than I am, with the microphone and everything. So my hat's off to you, brother. I love it. I love the effort, and I know you obviously do your own kind of broadcasting, and we're definitely going to get into that. But first off, Adam, why don't we, first of all, thank you for being here. I know taking time out of your schedule right now is not the easiest, and I know you're busy. I know the clients are starting to come back in droves. But let's go back in time a little bit, man. Let's talk about how did this whole personal training thing start for you in your life? Where did it all come from?
Oh wow, that's going back some time. Yeah, over 3 decades ago. It's one of those things. It was a natural progression for me, Lee, in the sense that I was training rather than being a trainer. I spent most of my life in gyms and training, being trained for competition. So when you're around that for a long time, and then you decide, right, okay, I need to take a back seat now. I need to stop fighting, and you retire from competition. And remember, retirement is 28 years old. It's kind of a strange thing. Normally people are retired when they get old, but in sports, people obviously retire a lot younger. Then it was time for me. I didn't want to turn my back on the industry, so I went off and took some qualifications at the time in the UK. And I got myself certified. I think the first one was to become a safety training instructor, if I remember rightly. And that was run by an organization with YMCA in the UK. Very, very, very old qualification. And then that's how it started. It kind of snowballed from that, really. That was the start of it. And then with instructors around the world, you're on what's called a register. Now, the register of exercise professionals, in order to stay on that, you've got to do 10 CPD points per year. So I actually got addicted to learning new things, literally from 30 years till now. Every year I've got to complete 10 CPD points. And that's the great part of it, is you never stop learning. And that's how it started, and that's how it's continuing right now.
And like, what did you find when, so your background originally in terms of what you trained for was boxing and kickboxing, correct?
Yeah, just those two. That's where I was.
Okay. And then you've mentioned to me before military training as well.
Yeah. I take time with both military and police. That's for those aspects. You don't have to be certified by a civilian organization.
Right.
To train the military or to train the police, you've got to meet their standards. And are their standards higher? I'm not going to say they're higher, but they're different. When you're teaching the general public, you're qualified to show the general public that, hey, look, there is a minimum standard, so you are safe. It's there to protect the general public. But of course, when you're anywhere such as the military or the police, then you are training the people that want to come through, and they've got to be fit. They've got to be of a certain standard, and the onus is on them. If they don't meet the fitness requirements, then at that level, they can then be going. Of course, they've got other things to do, written exams, etc., etc. But fitness is a small aspect. So for those, you're not really asking them to train. You're telling them to train. Very much regimented.
Right. And when you started training you got certified in the UK at first through the YMCA, and then you started doing the various different practices and different types of training certifications. At what point did you start to travel? What was the impetus for moving abroad?
We're moving abroad. Okay, that was later. But at what point did I start to travel? Remember, the United Kingdom is England, Ireland, Scotland,
sure,
and Wales. I started to travel almost straight away. It was very regional. I'm from a place called Liverpool. Those of you that don't know, that's the home of the Beatles. That's our claim to fame. And of course, the football team, which we don't really talk about at the moment. So I'm from Liverpool, and straight away I'd moved. My first move was into Wales. I moved across to Wales just because there was an opening down there, and somebody needed somebody with experience who needed someone with a martial arts background. So it was almost straight away that I'd moved down to Wales. From Wales, I moved up to just below Scotland there to Newcastle. From Newcastle, it was then down to London. From London, it was over to Paris. I think there was a visit back to Liverpool. You're talking about 30 years ago now. I think there was a move back to Liverpool at some point in there, and then it was over to France. Before eventually I begun to work in and around the Middle East, Abu Dhabi, Qatar, Dubai, trained people. I trained people in India, Taiwan. Taiwan was particularly challenging. So it was almost straight away, Lee. Yeah, it was almost straight away that I started to travel.
And in the new things that you started training when you started taking these certifications, what were some of the new practices that you started catching on to, or you really took an interest in, and why? What was so special about those?
That's an easy one. What stuck out for me and getting certified in was kettlebell. During the time that I was training, we never really used kettlebells. We'd use dumbbells, we'd use barbells, we'd use body weight programs. But we didn't really use kettlebells. And if they would ask me to use a kettlebell, they were very basic. But once I'd crossed the line and gone to the other side and become a trainer, I actually wondered why I wasn't introduced to kettlebells as a competitor, because they are absolutely fantastic. It's compound movements. You find that people like Matt Damon and other A-list celebrities, their personal trainers will get them using kettlebells because they really do strengthen, shape, burn fat, and I think I've used kettlebells wherever I've gone. In fact, in Dubai, the passion came out so much with kettlebell training that I used to lead a class in a place called MMA Fitness Center in Al Barsha in Dubai, and it was the busiest class that they'd ever seen. And I have to say, it was the busiest class that I'd ever seen. I'd never realized that it would take off that much. And a lot of people said it's because of the passion you're putting into it, and the fact that we didn't know how good kettlebells are as a functional workout.
And so, have you found that, like, for example, in the case of kettlebells, they have started to occupy more and more of your training? Or do you find, maybe a little quick question or Q&A for the trainer side, less the personal side, are some people not cut out for kettlebells, do you find?
Are some people not cut out? I have to be careful how I answer that, because the answer is that is yes. There are some people that would not be able to handle kettlebells because of perhaps certain ailments they have. Remember, there's 7 billion people on the planet, and we're all not the same. Every personal trainer that the general public meets, they will always go through a questionnaire with them and find out what their goals are. I find that you can adapt kettlebells, though, aside from injuries aside. If someone is physical and able, you can actually put kettlebells into most people's program. Look, I got a lady client, Betty Lalana. Betty, I hope you're watching this. She's 65 years old. She works with the Ortigas Foundation. She works in that. For those of you that know the area, if you're traveling towards Robertson Galleria and you see the big building with the big rosary on and the cross opposite from Morocco, that's the Ortigas Foundation in there. She works in there, 65 years old. And guess what? That lady, she kills kettlebells. She really does kill the kettlebell. And normally people, normally people would say, no. I guess at a certain age you can't use kettlebell. But listen, if Betty can kill the kettlebell, then I'm sorry, anybody can.
Yeah, I mean, I've obviously trained it with you, and it's something that and I trained it before meeting you. It's something. It's just, I mean, excellent. Like the crazy mix between the weight, the balance, the agility, and like the form that you have to have with it. You're constantly adjusting to whatever the kettlebell, wherever it wants to go. Sometimes it does have a mind of its own. I'm sure you've seen that on many occasions. Yeah, so I had to ask if kettlebell, and I understand what you're saying about kettlebell. It could also, I'm sure ailments is one thing. Another thing might be the style of training, probably. Like maybe you could answer this better. Maybe if the goals are in line one way, kettlebell is not so much the method to get there. Maybe the person needs more of this. Or do you find kettlebell is something that any regimen can use?
I think I've incorporated kettlebell into, and this is just a guess off the top of my head, about 90% of the clients that I have now, I've incorporated kettlebell in there. Look, if somebody wants weight loss, if somebody wants toning up, if somebody wants to build strength, kettlebell is the thing that you would use. The only thing that I would say that kettlebells wouldn't be used for, and this is just my opinion, I'm sure there's bodybuilders out there. When I'm training someone for bodybuilding, that's quite a specific training. Depending on their weight category and what they're doing, their bicep has to be a certain amount of inches big. and they don't want to burn too much cardio. They don't want to pump out too much because their aim is what we call hypertrophy. So they're creating muscle mass within every single muscle so that they look really good. Now, for that, you would then use, you would use plate-loaded machines. If you look at someone like The Rock, for example, his daily routine of getting up at silly o'clock in the morning, and you watch what he does, most of the time he's using machines or he's using some free weights. You won't see somebody like him using kettlebell that often. But I'm sure he does. I'm sure that if I say a little bit more, it will be in there somewhere. But generally speaking, bodybuilders wouldn't use kettlebell.
Would you say, Adam, it's much more of a not athletic, but it's much more of a functional workout rather than a aesthetic build that specific muscle workout? Is that why?
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's still you can still, if we're talking about aesthetics, you can look great if you're using kettlebells. The stronger you become, the more you develop your muscle. And being strong is not about building muscle. It's not about becoming a bodybuilder. If you're becoming stronger, if you're working your muscle, that's what burns fat. So you can use kettlebells and still look good, but bodybuilders are trying to achieve something a little bit more specific, depending on the competition that they're going to, Mr. Olympiad or the muscle contest that they have here in the Philippines, or they used to before the pandemic. If they're entering those, they need to create a specific look. So if they're measuring their bicep, for example, and let's suppose their bicep is out by 1 millimeter on one side, they're not going to start swinging kettlebells around, even heavy kettlebells. They're going to get into a machine and they're going to work that particular muscle, so that muscle aligns itself with the muscle on the opposite side of the body.
Got it. Let's shift gears for just a second and getting off kettlebell and specific working out. And actually, I'm really interested to ask you about this next part, because having been yourself, world champion, a counties champion in boxing, kickboxing, having trained all these different people in different practices, what was it like? And this is the advantage of being able to go back decades and 30 years in your trajectory. What was it like with not the birth, but the huge explosion of MMA, UFC, one championship, and you being in so many countries that are so exposed and involved in that? What was it like for you as a trainer to be not riding the wake, but to feel the ripples in the ocean off that explosion? What was that like for you?
I don't believe any trainer can coach or teach something unless they've experienced it, whether they were good or bad. Let's look at the biggest or the most famous boxing trainer that everybody knows, Freddie Roach, of course, long time in Manny's corner. He was a boxer, and he wasn't a very good boxer. I'm sure he won't mind me saying that. You can look on YouTube. Now, he then decided, right, I'm going to coach, and he was an excellent coach. But I don't believe that you can coach something without first experiencing it. I first experienced what was called no rules fighting in Germany. There was no gloves, and can I say the word butt? I got my butt handed to me. I wasn't very good. It was what you call a Grand Prix. I won my first fight, but I think I won my first fight because the other guy was not that good. And I won a second one. This was at the end of it. I'd won my world championships, and I was invited just to go over there. And I trained for it. And it was wow. It was awesome. It was a great experience. I'm pretty certain that there's still a video around there of me lying face down on the cage floor while I'm being beaten into the back of my head and the referee stopping it. But the whole thing of it meant an adjustment for me, but not too much of adjustment. If you think about I often say this. I often say I haven't really had a lot of MMA fights. I've had lots of MMA fights. So which one is true? Have I not had lots, or I've had lots? During my day as a teenager, I would pack my bag and travel up to Scotland. The next weekend, I would travel down to London, and these were all for what you call open competitions. Now, MMA wasn't around in the format it is now, but these were MMA in terms that a guy could have done karate, fighting someone who's done taekwondo, fighting someone who's done kung fu, fighting someone who's done kickboxing. I'd won a taekwondo All-England champion, and I wanted to know how I would fare against these other people. So off I went, and they were called, in those days, they were called open tournaments. And I don't know how many fights I had. And I often say I probably lost, no, I did. I lost a lot more than what I actually won. Now, this was on my way up. They were essentially mixed martial arts. Of course, what we know today as with one championship and URCC as being the local ones and UFC as the international one, it's that plus the takedown and groundwork. And that's something that I've had to develop myself. I've had to learn over the years in order to keep up. And this is what a good trainer has to do. This is why I was saying every year doing a course helps a trainer to develop himself so that he can develop his clients. So yeah, you know, it was when UFC came around, it was a little bit after my time as a competitor. And when I look at it now, at the age of 55, I still get little feelings of, damn, I want to step into the cage. I want to give it a go. But of course, if I did that, I'd probably be going home in a body bag.
Yeah, no, with all due respect, I think you're right. You would go home in a body bag. And I'm saying that because if we watch these guys now, yeah, with all due respect, no, and I mean that also because I think you could probably explain this better than me. From my layman observation of mixed martial arts, which I've really gotten into in the last like 3 or 4 years, and following, is they're not as many one-trick ponies anymore, and there's not as many. You know, there's a lot more strategy. There's a lot more workouts built around the sport rather than, you know, doing their own workouts and then showing up for a fight. Everyone's preparing for these fights now. So it's kind of like, you know, I look at it a lot like, you know, American football, across the world. You know, the athletes are receiving much more specialized treatments, training, preparation. They're starting when they're little kids, specifically doing MMA. So they're not just boxing. They're not just this or that, you know, and so they come through, and I'm sure, you know, if you stepped in there, it would be kind of interesting in the sense that the person you're facing is, you know, it's not like, okay, he's a Gracie, so he's doing jujitsu. It's this guy can do jujitsu, boxing, wrestling, you know, like, you know, he's got all these tricks up his sleeve that you're probably not even, you know, aware for, which is a testament to the sport, right?
Yeah, these guys train really hard. I mean, I'll give them a mention. John Adahar from URCC. You know, I train him for his boxing. I don't even do kickboxing. I train him on his boxing. I do pad work with him. But of course, he is the current middleweight world MMA champion for URCC. But just because I train him, it doesn't mean that he's going to win, because then he has a BJJ coach. He has a wrestling coach. He has a Muay Thai coach. So you find that now you've got to give respect to the MMA versus boxing where I came from, because they've got so much. As you said, there is so much to add into the mix that you can't have. It's not one coach, one client anymore with MMA. They've got to have several. They'll have a strength and conditioning coach. I remember Drek Zamboanga is he was undefeated in the URCC, and of course, those that follow MMA will now know he's in one championship. Again, I worked out with him for his boxing skills, and then literally after he'd finished with me, his strength and conditioning coach came in, and off he went. So the guy was like working out for 4 hours straight. You got to give these guys credit.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that about the different coaches, because I just saw an interview with Conor McGregor's coach yesterday or day before, and they straight up were talking about the Poirier fight, and that he was taking all those kicks to the front calf and etc. And so now he's going to the next camp, and like that's what the fighters do, is they're totally prepping on the step in and defending the kick, and they can do a whole discipline in a camp before they get to the next one, instead of just a boxer continuing with his boxing and hoping that'll knock the jiu-jitsu guy out type of thing. They have that specialized, ability to jump from sport to sport and then apply it all in the end in one single fight. Adam, we're going to cut real quick to a commercial break, but please, let's hold the ideas because we're going to come right back to this. This is a great conversation. I love this. You guys are watching Foreign Affairs here on the new channel. We'll be right back.
Good.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Foreign Affairs. I'm Lee O'Brien, your host. We're having a great conversation with Mr. Adam Kechil. Adam, please come back on the show.
Hey.
Throwing him in. So, yeah, I love this. I love this conversation.
I love the hand actions. I love it. I'm
trying to have a little fun with my guests. Bring them back. I don't have the virtual. I don't have the literal hook to drag people.
Yeah.
We make do with what we can. So I'm really liking this topic about the UFC fighting, etc. Actually, though, I also really wanted to ask you. So, like you said, from the get-go, you started becoming a personal trainer, and in that case, actually, you know what, Adam? I totally forgot something. I'm going to hit pause because I'm totally neglecting something very important for this show. So, excuse me, my gaffe, my bad. But this is for all the people here that are watching TNC. Excuse me, Adam, sorry for the interruption. But as we know, and as I mentioned before, here on TNC, we have many other shows that we definitely want you to tune into. I'm too deep into this conversation. My bad. Anyways, as you know, this is Foreign Affairs here showing on Tuesdays, but we have numerous shows here on TNC. If you don't remember me mentioning before, TNC, the background of the show is it came out of the pandemic lockdown last year. Founded by Lloyd and Apple, this started with one show, The Big Picture, hosted by Lloyd Luna, and has since grown to over 25 shows in the last year. And all the shows show throughout the week from all over the world, showing throughout the world, and they cover just about any topic you could possibly need to hear about or want to hear about. And they're hosted by very capable hosts, very capable people that have very diverse interests and experience to share with people. And so some of these shows are, for example, these are all streaming throughout the week at different times. And you can catch some of the old shows we actually are starting to re-stream. So if they're not around anymore or currently showing in their season, don't worry, you can definitely stream the old episodes. But some of these shows are, for example, there's U-Turn, TNC The Talk, Awesome Day, The Home Buyer. Those are all live streaming, as well as Laugh and Learn from the show The Puppet Stories every Monday at 5:30 p.m. We also have notable personalities and their stories on the show The Big Picture, Mondays to Fridays, 7 p.m. We also have Listen to This Generation on the show The Millennial Voice, Mondays at 8:30 p.m. Learn Together Across Borders on the show you're currently watching, Foreign Affairs, every Tuesday at 10:30 a.m. Human Resources and Management on the show HR Hotline, every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday at 12 noon. The journey continues on the show Moving On Business, Tuesdays and Fridays at 4 p.m. And the show Well Home Brings a Well Life, every Tuesday at 5:30 p.m. And it's never too late for a mental shift. The show is called Mental Shift, every Tuesday and Thursday, 7:30 p.m. Pacific Time U.S., and Wednesdays and Fridays at 10:30 a.m. Philippines. So that's the next day, same showing time for both places. Money and More is the show that shows every Tuesday at 8:30 p.m. Philippines and 5:30 a.m. Pacific Time. Also check out CyberNext and Health is Wealth on the Health Line, which is 4 p.m. on Wednesday. Coping and Coupling, Couple Goals is the show showing on Wednesdays at 5:30 p.m. Strategize and Win in Life through the show Win Within every Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. And you can also check out replays of a very popular show, Market Leader, and Know Your Rights on the show Yola every Thursday at 8:30 p.m. Madiskartang Buhay, Madiskartang Nanay on the show Negosyo at Home, Fridays at 12 noon. Tech U can be watched anytime on live stream, the show Tech U. Magbenta Bumili at Tumulong on the show TNC Marketplace, Fridays and Saturdays at 5:30 p.m. And we also have various other shows. Danny Art Show, After Shift, Women at Work, COVID Stories, The Family Business, Usapang Beauty, The Fourth Project are all streaming and showing on the channel, both on the Facebook and the YouTube channels. And then also catch original TNC content. One day, TNC Arena, TNC PressCon, and TNC Town Hall every Saturday at 7 p.m., co-hosted by TNC founders Lloyd and Apple. Town Hall is where we talk to you, our valued audience. And there's more upcoming shows, so please follow hashtag TNC Now on Facebook and YouTube. Allow your passion to inspire you and help us, let us see, hashtag see the new you. So got the hype out for the other shows. Definitely tune into those other shows when you get a chance. Any of those are in interest to you, they're right here on the new channel anytime you want. So Adam, come back in now. Now you can come back in. My bad.
Are you gonna reel me in again?
Yeah, I had to send the meal back to the kitchen real quick. Reheat. We had to do a reheat. So back to the training and a little bit of gear shift off the UFC talk. I also found it interesting. You said from the beginning you started training, and from the beginning while training you started traveling abroad as a trainer. So you started going around the UK, and then eventually you're hopping over to Paris, and then eventually taking the hop down over to the Middle East. and going to the UAE and different countries around there. What was it like training there? Not to make it sound like some incredibly exotic, way different place, but maybe here's the question. You've trained all over the UK, you trained in Paris, you've now trained here in the Philippines for 3 years, and then you're trained in the Middle East. What is the difference in training people in the different places?
People have different ideas of what fitness is. Now, one of the things that so we mentioned that I was a competitor. Being a competitor and being a trainer are two different things. And one of the things that really had an impact on me, I mentioned kettlebells, and the second one was getting certified in something called Boxercise. Boxercise is something that is currently in 51 countries. They've just moved into Vietnam. So 51 countries is what they're in. Having a brand behind me helped me to adjust my training, because me as myself, I'm just Adam. I turn up in the Middle East and, well, who are you? But when I have a global brand behind me, I'm Adam and I'm certified with Boxercise. Oh yes, Boxercise. Because the thing with the Middle East is it's very transient. It's a crossroads to the rest of the world. Somebody asked me the other day, how many nationalities have I been involved in training, both training for fitness and training in order to become an instructor? And I don't know. I literally, if somebody was naming countries and I had to think about it, and the answer was always yes. If you name a country, I have trained somebody from that country. Language is the biggest problem. But part of the training is that, sometimes you don't need this. Sometimes people are visual learners. People can be a visual learner. Yes, they can be an auditory learner. But when language is a barrier, that can be quite difficult. Kinesthetic, if someone is a kinesthetic learner, that is tactile learning, where they're moved into place and you guide them up and down doing a squat or doing a punch, etc. So for me, as I began to move around the world, it was taking a brand that was already growing, such as Boxercise. And I wanted to show people that people can practice a form of training that is always about getting into a ring and having a fight, but it's not. You can use it for fitness. So having Boxercise behind me, and that's what it was. The founder, I'll give him a mention. The founder was Andy Waite in the UK, and he founded it. It was something because it was necessary more than anything else. People would say, "Hey, I want to go to a boxing class," but they go to a boxing class and they didn't know whether that meant they had to do some fighting, sparring. Boxercise takes the guesswork away. Boxercise is everything to do with training like a boxer or a kickboxer without the need for doing any sparring. So arriving into the Middle East with this behind me set me a good foundation to be able to springboard from Dubai into the likes of Qatar, Kuwait, Abu Dhabi, India, etc., etc. That was a good springboard with a good brand behind me.
I'm sure it was like, I'm sure it was almost night and day between going out and trying to recruit your own clients, going out and trying to prove yourself to clients, going out and trying to keep them after 3 or 4 classes. And then you come in with something like Boxercise and they just keep coming back because those big letters up on the wall just, take the guesswork out. I mean, apart from, I know personally what kind of a trainer you are, so I know you're not, faking it, but it's got to be nice to get a really nice car when you're a good driver.
Oh, absolutely. How do you know I'm not faking it? Maybe I'm a really good actor.
You killed me enough, Dave, to let me know you're not faking. You're sadistic, but you're good. Things, right?
Yeah. Having those. but it helps, you know, having a brand that people already know, because, you know, in Dubai, you'll have somebody who travels in from Canada, from the USA. Boxercise is in those countries. Boxercise is in Canada. It's in. So when somebody comes along and says, "Hey, yeah, I want to do Boxercise," there's no need to tell them, right? Okay, look, what I do is you train like a fighter. I know it's okay. I got it. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I'm going to train like a fighter, and I'm going to be as fit as a fighter. That's exactly what I want, and I know Boxercise, and that's what gave me the confidence. You know, it is unnerving to go to not just a new country, but to a new area and literally start all over again. And that's what I've done. People sometimes don't really understand that, is that although I've got all my qualifications, although I've got the things that I've got, in order to get me going, I need, you know, to do what you're doing, I kind of need a hook to get people in. And that's what this particular brand has allowed me to do. It's been that hook to get people in so that I am able to start from scratch. Even here in the Philippines, I moved to the Philippines. I didn't have a client base. I came here and I had to start all over again.
I know exactly what you're talking about. You know, like, we're two kindred spirits in that sense. I know exactly what you mean to pack up everything, you know, put some of it in storage, take a little handbag with you, get to a new country, not know the people, start from scratch, every day proving yourself, you know, let alone to yourself. You're just trying to prove yourself to put some money in your pocket and gain traction. And so I know exactly what you're talking about. Adam, we have to take one more commercial break and then we're going to come back. Please hold that thought because I like this conversation a lot. You guys are watching Foreign Affairs here on the new channel. Welcome back to Foreign Affairs. I'm Lee O'Brien, your host, having a great conversation right now with Mr. Adam Kechil. Adam, please come on back.
I'm back. Please be gentle with me.
Yeah. It's just a lasso around the neck. Don't worry about it. So yeah, I love this topic about the starting over in every country, starting over in a new place. You know, it's kind of common thread in my life, so I very much identify with it. So I want to focus on that. You know, like, what have you found when, you know, you got to the Middle East, when you got here to the Philippines, apart from having Boxercise, you know, either on your resume or in the UK having, you know, the reputation precede you in the championships or whatnot? What was it? What did you make sure to do when you got to a new country in order to establish yourself? How do you gain that trust? How do you build a rapport?
Yeah, so that's build the rapport. That's the difficult thing. You know, I'm sure you're aware of this. As Westerners, whether you are from the UK or from the US, we tend to be a little bit lazy with languages. Whether that is our fault, I don't know. But we're not. During my time at school, we got taught a little bit of French because that's the closest country. You know, when I moved to different countries, one thing that really was overwhelmingly in my favor is the fact that everybody else is more intelligent than me. And, you know, I say this again and again. I say this to the Filipinos here, because if they did not speak English, I would not have a job. So the first thing that has to happen when I meet somebody new is I have to, first of all, rather humbly admit that I don't speak their language. I don't speak Arabic. I don't speak Hindi or Urdu or a little bit of French. I don't speak German. And certainly coming here, I didn't speak any Tagalog. Although having said that, people are beginning to teach me. Filipinos start off with the bad words, and then they get into the good ones eventually. So building the rapport was always an introduction and an apology that I am from England, and my apology was I don't speak the language that you speak. If we can get around that, then I can train you in whatever your goal is with regards to fitness.
And what have been some of, like, you know, the overarching unifying themes that you found between training people in different areas? You know, like, for example, it must be nice for you to be in the Philippines, train Boxercise, and meanwhile there's this icon, Manny Pacquiao, right there that you can just say to him, you know, like Manny does, or like, you know, like in the Middle East, was it like, were there some fighters or some, you know, was there a way you could identify mutually and kind of build like a common interest between you and a person from a different country?
Yeah, and you know what? It was, you're absolutely right by mentioning Manny. You know, although MMA is big, boxing is still more popular in my mind, or it certainly was while I was in the Middle East. So once people realized that there was somebody there that was doing this Boxercise that maybe they hadn't heard of, and other people had, and other people were getting into it, there became this, wow, do you also train fighters? And my answer is always the same. When people ask me, I always say, not specifically. Not specifically. I use boxing as part of someone's program to get them fitter. However, I do. So I don't specifically go out there and look for fighters to train. They tend to come to me. So over in the Middle East, there was the Abu Dhabi Fight Championship, which I took part in a double-edged thing. One, I was a TV presenter for presenting that, and I was also a trainer of a couple of the guys in there who wanted to develop their skills on the pads in speed and get their cardio up. And that's the beautiful thing, is that when you're using pads, it can improve the accuracy of somebody that punches. It can improve their hand-eye coordination. Yes, it is very challenging on the cardio, but guess what? Just like a fighter, that's also what somebody who wants to train just for fitness needs. They need the same things. The difference is that when we take the pads off the guy, when I take my pads off with the other guy, then he'll want to do some sparring. So the fight aspect has always been the common link into the personal training. When people look at my Instagram, when people look at my Facebook, the first thing that's, oh, can I do some boxing training with you? And actually, when I question them about their goals, actually they just want to get fitter. They want to get fitter, and they want to use boxing because they've seen Jennifer Lopez doing some boxing fitness. They've seen you know, their favorite celebrity, you know, even local celebrities. You know, so somebody like Rachel LeBonco, you know, Athea Vega, all these people who are doing a little bit of boxing training, and that's the link, that's the bridge, if you like, between me and everybody else. They see a little bit of this. Wow, that looks awesome. How do we do that? How do we get involved? How do we become a part of this? And then, of course, I go into I'm happy to teach you. Let me first of all explain, you are more intelligent than me because you speak English. Do you speak English? I asked them some questions, and I did that for two reasons. I found out their goals, and I found out how good their English is versus how bad my Tagalog is.
Yes. I think you got to set the expectations, and it's a good litmus test to see where their English and your Tagalog is sitting for them to for you to communicate. I mean, that's genius. And I got to believe, it's dawning on me too. And for myself, I think it's the attractive part too of being able to train the Boxercise and be trained this way is when you take the weight of not getting your ass kicked at some point and being able to get all the benefits rather than the possible drawback of a face down on the ground, getting in the back of your head beaten in. Someone can really say, hey, when your fear's gone, when your fears are lifted, your abilities increase. So I got to imagine that, the people begin to train even harder, knowing that they don't have to like get in the ring and get tested real soon.
It also increases people's confidence as well. I've got one lady, she's got no interest in fighting. She just wants to tone up. And, she said to me in one of the sessions, she said, wow, since I've been doing this, I'm sometimes a little bit, excuse me, I'm a little bit afraid when I'm walking around and I see a group of people. But since I've been training, she said something miraculous has happened. I was actually walking along thinking, if they hassle me, if they impose themselves on me, I now know that I can deliver a 7 and an 8, which are the two uppercuts that we use in Boxercise. And I had to remind us, look, you're doing this for fitness, not for fighting.
That is awesome. That is awesome. Just leave my name out of the interview with the cops afterwards, all right? Yeah, Adam showed me this combo. That's awesome. Good for her. Good for her.
Yeah.
Not the threatening innocent groups of people in the street part. I'm talking about
but
that confidence.
Yeah,
that
yeah,
confidence. That's great. That's awesome. So let's finish strong, Adam. Let's get it into, let's draw on your experience, your expertise. What is someone who wants to get into Boxercise, combat sport training, just for the benefits, maybe not even for the fighting? What are some pre-steps to take, and what's your advice to be ready to take it and take advantage? Not just take the training, take advantage of the training. What are the angles and what's the leverage?
Well, the beauty is if a member of the public decides they want to do some boxing training, look for someone who is a Boxercise instructor, because they've been through everything. These guys that are Boxercise, and there's lots in the Philippines now. There are lots in the Philippines. They've trained and passed assessments. For the level 1, they have to pass an assessment, and they have to score at least 70%. 69%, 69.5% doesn't cut it, and people do fail. So they have to go away, and if they're still interested, they can come back and they can retake it. On the advanced course, they've got to do a practical assessment, and they've got to do a written assessment. So I'm not saying that if they don't have the Boxercise logo behind them that they're not good, because there are some brilliant pad holders here in the Philippines, naturally pad. What this does, it does for the general public, it adds a sense of security that, okay, this guy has done training. He does know how to hold pads. He does understand the principles of exercise. He does understand how to formulate a lesson plan together that encompasses a martial art, striking, be it Boxercise or kickboxercise or whatever it may be. So do they need to do anything before they take it up? Do they need to limber up and practice some. They need to go and watch some old Marvin Hagler videos, who's of course passed away this week. Do they need to do that? No, they don't, because the instructor, the coach, the trainer will take them through everything from the very beginning. He'll teach them what they need to do, not just how to punch, but how to throw a punch safely. That's very important, you know. If a trainer doesn't know that the number one injury for a fighter, I won't say boxer, I'll say fighter, is actually in the wrist. There's a small bone in there called the scaphoid. And it used to be known as a boxer's break. If you went to the doctors, you went to your GP in the olden days, and you had a broken scaphoid, he'd say, "Well, who have you been fighting?" It was something that used to happen quite a lot then. Still happens now. It's still a very common injury. So a good instructor doesn't want his client, who is not a fighter, to be injured. He hasn't come to me or to any Boxercise instructor to say, yeah, make me a fighter. He's come to get fit and to get healthy. So my advice is, don't worry, just jump in with both feet and allow your instructor to guide you along the way. And it won't be long before you're looking as awesome as awesome as you, Lee, you know?
Well, the shirt's still on, but I appreciate the compliment. It is it's definitely. I'm speaking from personal experience. I'm loving the results, and you know, it's only been a couple months now, right? You know, so it's not even a significant amount of time, but even in that amount of time, I can testify that, you know, with your training, there have been just great results. And what's great is I think what I love to see in training is a lot of people talk about initial results or a final destination, right? But there's that cool compound results that start coming in the mid round when you've gotten to a little bit of a plateau and you got a little strength here, and now you can start doing this new strength move and this new exercise and this new striking, and then all of a sudden you're adding on. That's when it starts becoming really, really fun. So you know, and I'm just starting to.
Have you not got to that?
I know. I'm saying
have you not got to that part yet?
I've gotten to that. I've gotten to a first compound.
All right,
I believe it's a first compound. In fairness, I'm not going to sit here and say like I've jumped 10 levels or done a bunch of compounds. But I think I've hit at least one where I'm getting familiar maybe with strikes and a little bit of movement. As you know, when I get too tired, I just look like crap. Like it was my first day. But
Lee is underselling himself, everybody. Lee is underselling himself. He's doing absolutely awesome. He's we create within training, we create something called an engram, which is a series of boxing moves that become instinctive. And this helps with the overall fitness level, hand-eye coordination. It helps with stress. And I've got to say, it's coming pretty naturally to Lee. And he's a hard hitter. I got Judith, my other half, who is a Boxercise advanced instructor, so she knows what she's doing. She knows exactly what she's doing. She held up hands one time for Lee, and the next day it wasn't Lee that was in pain, it was her. She was in pain. So Lee, stop hitting my instructors.
I will. Just put the heavy bags in front of me. I'll keep hitting them. I got no qualms doing that. No qualms, man. Thank you for the kind words, Adam. Let's, as I always do at the end of my show, you got a minute, 2 minutes. Hype yourself up, please. Tell people where they can reach you, what you're involved with, how to connect with you, etc. Let it go, sir.
Well, as well as training the general public, I also train people to become instructors. So if you're an instructor out there, even if you're a boxing coach who is really, really good, why not have an international accreditation? Boxercise is in 51 countries. I don't issue the certificates. I merely train and test you. At the end of the assessment, you are on a register that is held in London. The register is held in London. People can go to boxercise.co.uk. They'll type in your name, or they'll type in the area, and your name comes up as a Boxercise instructor. So you can increase your business by being a Boxercise instructor. You can offer assurance to your clients. And if you've never held pads before and you're thinking, you know what, I wish I could hold pads for my clients, hey, Boxercise is for you. We are on Facebook, Boxercise Asia. We changed it from Boxercise Philippines because of the pandemic. We do a lot of online courses now throughout the Asian region. So there are safe ways of doing it. We don't do face-to-face at the moment because of the lockdowns, but you can log on 8-hour day. It is a hardcore day for an instructor, 8 hours of physical, practical assessments, reassessments to make sure that you've got it right. But you can assure your clients that not only are you a good pad holder, but you are good enough to get 70% in an internationally accredited system known as Boxercise in 51 countries. So you can find me, you can find me at Boxercise Asia. You can find me at my Facebook page, Adam Kechil, which is just my name down there. Instagram, it's all the same, Adam Kechil. Just search and you'll find me.
Right on. There it is. I'll be your personal testimony. You don't even have to back it up. Find this guy. If you're a trainer, find him to perfect your craft. Find this guy if you want to work out. Find this guy if you want to get in shape, period. Adam, thank you, sir, for your time. I truly appreciate it. Thank you for making time. I know you're a busy man, and I appreciate all your wisdom, man.
Thank you for inviting me on the show. Thank you very, very much for inviting me. I do appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. And you'll kick my ass this afternoon anyway, so I'll see you a little later.
I'll be seeing you later. Take care.
Take care, man. Always good to have trainers on the show tell us, what to learn, what to make, keep an eye out for, what not to. But I can tell from personal experience, and I can testify, Adam Kechil knows his stuff, and it's just awesome to be trained by him, and also to be able to, offer something different, offer a new angle, a very professional, accomplished trainer here in the Philippines, where they have many great trainers too. It's just nice to add on another very, very qualified trainer who can take your training or your practice of being a trainer to the next level. So we appreciate Adam being on the episode this week. Thank you, all of you, for tuning in this week to Foreign Affairs. It's been a pleasure hosting the show this week, and I'm really glad you guys could tune in and watch. As always, you can find me at Lee O'Brien on either Facebook or Instagram. And then also, of course, check out our vlog, Poke Lee Cooking, at Poke Lee Cooking on Facebook and Instagram. And of course, it's our YouTube channel, so Poke Lee Cooking Official. And definitely, if you're here in the Philippines, you should be DMing us and finding out about Poke Lee Food Products. At Poke Lee Food Products is our Instagram as well as our Facebook. DM us. We have our website up now, pokeleefoods.com. You can direct order on there, and we can program the delivery and payments through the system. But we've got your suka, we got laing, alige, tuyo, tinapa. We got it all. Classic Filipino ulam that you are going to love and your family is going to love. And to any of you OFWs that are out there watching, we are coming for you. We will be delivering our food to you around the world by the end of this year. That is the goal. So we're taking the steps now so you guys can sit in whatever country you're working in and enjoy a little nice taste of home. But thank you all for tuning in to Foreign Affairs. Please tune in next week, every Tuesday at 10:30 a.m. here on the new channel. I'm Lee O'Brien, signing off.